What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Leveled Up Life podcast. Branamier, Courtney here, as always, with Paul McClain.
Good to be here with you, brother.
Good to be here with you, man. Helping people level up their life in all the areas that matter most: faith, family, fitness, finance, and franchise. Turn the volume up. Let us know where you're watching from. Like, do you watch this in the living room? Are you in your car? Like, are you in your office space? Like, let us know. Leave some comments. Give us some feedback on how this is helping you level up your life. Before we jump into today's podcast, which is absolutely going to be a game changer. I'm excited for this one, man. We say that about every single one. Like, our heart and our goal is to help people level up every single week. But this one in particular, man, this might help people avoid some costly mistakes that we've both had to experience in our entrepreneurial journeys over the last, 10, 15 years. So we'll jump into that. But before we do, June 5th is a very important date. It's our very first really live event that we're doing, a Level Up Life Roundtable Leadership Talk, June 5th. And our heart and our desire is to gather people from all walks of life. And so it's not just one industry, but any industry, any person who calls himself a leader, who's in business, whether you lead just your home, your office, an organization, a small business, whatever it is, we want to get you in the room because here's what I know is anytime you get into a room where people are ahead of you, people are further along than you, people have more experience in one area that you're looking to grow in. Every time I get into a room like that, man, I get stronger, I get better. I leave with practical tools to take away to help me, become a better father, become a better husband, become a better speaker, communicator, whatever it is I'm doing. And so my heart is to gather big, right? Gather a lot of people and really pour our hearts into them. And so it's a leadership event. If you're looking to grow in your leadership in any area, mark it in your calendars right now. June 5th, 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock here in the high desert. It's going to be myself. Obviously, Paul, my wife, who leads with your wife, an amazing girls organization where they're helping people, women of all different backgrounds, grow in their faith spiritually. And then our good friend Jeff Osborne is going to be in the house, which he's just going to shout the house down for sure. And he's built businesses and he speaks across the world and coaches Fortune 500 CEOs. So it's going to be a valued packed day. Registration is going to be live very, very soon. And so look out for that. We'll put the link in our bio when it is. But June 5th, I don't want to get too far into this podcast without letting people know to put that in their calendar. Leveled Up Life Leadership Roundtable event coming soon to the high desert. So let's get after it, man.
Dude, I'm excited about that, bro. I think it's going to 100% be one of those things where you look back and say, hey, it was at that event where things shifted. Because if you think about it, man, there's not a lot of breakthrough moments that you have in your life. Today, I think we're going to go through some of these great lessons learned, right, from these big mistakes that entrepreneurs and leaders can make. And if you're saying, hey, well, I'm not a leader. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are. Because even if you're working in a job and you're like, I'm just an employee, right? I just do this. Like, your presence influences others. See, leadership is simply influence, right? And so if you could be a better influence or have a better influence with where you're at in any endeavor, right? Like, that's leadership, man. And God's called us to go out there and be salt and light. And that's just becoming a better, bigger influencer to those around us, where they're better because they met you, because you had a conversation with them, or because they just witnessed your behavior and how you hold yourself. And so leadership is so crucial, but it's going to be a massive day. And I do believe, without a doubt, I'm certain of it, that there'll be people just like I was in many events that I've gone to and attended, where I leave and say, man, I'm forever different because I was exposed to this. And in my mind, I start to make these changes and saying, okay, I'm no longer going to do this or see it this way. I'm now moving forward and doing it this way. And all of a sudden, life starts to shift, right? And so just make sure you do it. Don't delay. One thing I know is the longer you wait to do something, the less likely you are to ever do it. And so stack the deck in the favor of your future self, the better version of you, by making the choice to do it now. You'll figure all the other stuff out later. Just take this step and say, I'm definitely going to be there. So today, guys, this is a big deal, man.
It's game changer.
This is, I heard this a long time ago, Brand. They said, if you want to impress people, talk about successes. If you want to impact people, you talk about your failures.
Yep.
And I love talking about my failures because I know that these are the things that shape me. These are the things that allow the successes to take place, or because of these things. The one thing you can be sure of is anybody that's had great success, they have probably had more failures than you.
Yeah.
They probably failed a lot more than you, a lot quicker than you, and sat back and evaluated and reflected upon that failure, took a lesson from it, moved forward with a different insight perspective, and now you're looking at the fruits and saying, whoa, look at them, right? You know, and I remember having people say like stuff like, man, that person just blew up really quick, or man, that happened really fast. And it's like, dude, there's no overnight successes. Like, you don't wake up and be like, dude, how'd that six-pack get there? Bro, like, there's a lot of intention behind that.
Still waiting for that day.
Yeah. Like, God just answered my prayer, man. I went from flubby to a six-pack overnight. It doesn't work that way, right? There's a process behind it, and a lot of that process is going through the failures. And so, dude, this is going to be a big podcast for anybody that's wanting to actually get better and practically level up. This is going to be it for them. And so 8 powerful lessons for entrepreneurs and leaders and takeaways from that. And let me just tell you guys this. Like, if you're wondering, like, is failure essential? Does it have to happen to succeed? Yes, it does. You know, I remember reading this in a book. I can't remember which one it was, but they said Babe Ruth is always known for how many home runs he hit. And he hit more home runs at the time than anybody else, but he also struck out more than anybody else. And you can go through stat after stat where what's impressive is all the successes, but the person that typically has the greatest successes in these different athletic backgrounds, they typically have the greatest, what you would call, failures, and the highest ranking in that too. They just don't usually track that and talk about that quite a bit.
Well, they're willing to take the risk is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at, any statistic like basketball, like you got MJ, LeBron, Kobe, that lead all the statistics, right? But you can flip it on reverse. They also have the most missed shots, the most lost games, the most turnovers, the most whatever it is. It's because they're willing to risk it the most. In business, right, you're going to have some misses along the way. Like, we're trying to help you minimize the misses, but the truth is, like, no one bats 1,000. Yeah. No one's hitting home runs every time. And so we want to just share with you some mistakes that we've made. And the truth is, I think, like exactly what you said, people resonate more with your failures than your successes. I think this is one of the secrets, if you will, to our success in our organization is, man, we just try to be so authentic in our approach to everything. Like, we from day one, we were like, listen, we don't have it all figured out.
Sure.
We do not have it all put together. Like, we're on this journey together, going through this life together, and we're gonna miss sometimes. We're gonna hit it sometimes. But let's just be upfront. It's the whole 8 Mile approach, right? Like, this is who I am. Yeah. Like, you see everything, and so I think as a leader, and especially when you're leading a group of entrepreneurs or a group of people, like, authenticity is the most relatable thing. If they can see that you're fake, if you're faking it, if you're like trying to be a certain way and then not living it, people see through the plastic, And so let's talk about some of our misses, man.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Hey, the funny thing though, what you're saying, I was thinking this thought. Like, I remember being like 19, right, getting into business and having a lot of like kind of insecurities. Like, can I do this thing, right? I'm helping people with financial services. Yeah, financial services. Like, I'm teaching, like, guiding people to do these big financial moves, or that's rolling over a 401k or whatever, right? And I'd have people that would say, hey, man, how old are you? Like, how long have you been doing this? And I remember in the beginning, like, trying to act like fake about it, like being like, oh, I've done this a long time, and then trying to shush. In their mind, they're thinking like, this guy's full of crap, right? And then switching. Sometimes you can be authentic and have some fun, but I remember telling them, like, I'm only just got my driver's license. In fact, my mom, she's waiting outside, so we take, I told her to drive around the block a couple times, and if it takes too long, she's gonna leave me. So we go through this real quick, and they'd laugh, and it was real of me saying, like, in an indirect way, like, yeah, I'm young. Yeah. Let's keep moving forward, right? Yeah. And so I think you're right, dude. Authenticity shines so bright, especially in this artificial world that continues to get layers and layers deeper with this fakeness. So, well, let's talk about it, dude. Number 1, don't chase every opportunity. So let's talk about that, man. Unpack it.
Yeah. The truth is, like, there's shiny objects everywhere. And I think this is something that I had to learn, you and me both, probably the hard way. And for you, I think about your journey from the outside looking in. Like, you were hyper-focused for, 15 years in one industry, and you were able to, to go extremely deep. I think people are jumping around, right, from business to business, trying to strike gold. But as I look at your journey, you were hyper-focused for 15 years, and now after these 15 years, you got your hands in 25 different things. And so people are like, what's going on? But like, they didn't see the last 15 years. And I know for me, it's a similar path. And I think that the temptation now is to chase after all the shiny objects and see which one strikes gold. But the truth is, like, the Bible would say it this way, that if you're not planted Like, if you're not planted in the house of the Lord, you won't flourish, right? And the same could be true in any business. Like, man, you can't be a real estate agent one week, and then the next week you're trying to be a travel influencer. And not that anything's right or wrong. It's just like, if you don't stick around for long enough, you'll never grow. Yeah. And so I think when you're trying to chase every single opportunity out there, you're going to miss the goal that's struck right in front of you. And the truth is, no business has it all. I remember we had a conversation one time about, and we didn't even share this in the moment, but we're like envious of others, of each other's business. Like, I'm over here building a janitorial company, looking at you and Andrew, like, dude, you guys are traveling around the country, having dinners, like, motivating people, and you're looking at mine going, dude, that's so simple. Like, I could just have less stress and just have you know. And the truth is, like, no business is perfect, and so you got to go through the valleys and the mountains, and just be consistent. That would be my biggest takeaway with people, is like, don't try to speed through speed through life and try to reach the final destination. Like, the journey is the goal, right? And so I think what happens is, when we chase every single opportunity, we miss all the blessings that are right in front of us. I know for me, in the organization that I lead, there's opportunities that come all day, every day to partner, and they're not all bad. But I got to go, does this align with my vision? Does this align with the mission? Does this align with the goals of the organization? And if it doesn't, then I can't take it, because the truth is, if I say yes to something, that automatically means I'm saying no to something else, right? And so you just got to know who you are. I think what it comes down to. Like, you got to know, like the dream that God's given you, the vision that He's given you, and you got to be consistent. You got to be focused on it, because if not, like, dude, I get calls at least once or twice a month with organizations going, hey, let's partner on this, or hey, let's do this together, or hey, let's throw this event, and I'm just like, it sounds great. Like, there's nothing wrong with the event or the partnership or whatever it is. But I'm like, for us in this season, it just doesn't make sense right now. You know?
That's good, dude.
But earlier, like, if I was younger, I would be like, let's do it. Let's collab. Let's blow up. Let's reach more people. But it's like, is that my lane right now? Probably not. Yeah. And if I go step in that lane, then I'm probably not serving the people who I'm actually called to serve. And so they're missing out, as I'm trying to, do something that's way outside of my lane. And so I think, we can all get caught up trying to chase every opportunity there is. But the truth is, like, you just got to stay consistent in the lane that you're in right now, serve it faithfully now. And then who knows, like, what opportunity will come in the future.
Dude, so good. One thing that you said, man, I want to spotlight, like you said, when I say yes to something, I'm automatically by default saying no to something. And I think that to be a successful entrepreneur or just successful leader in any of these areas, right? Because the whole goal, when you say, like, level up your life in all the areas that matter most, it's really like level up your leadership in these areas, right? How do you lead your family better? That's leveling up. How do you lead your business better? That's leveling up. All those different things. But getting good at saying no is difficult, and it's probably one of the highest paying things.
It's very difficult
that you can do, right? Just getting good at saying no, or just saying not now. Right? Like, sometimes that's easier, right? Even like breaking a habit, sometimes like saying no, it increases the temptation and urge so much higher, because now it's like this emotional and mental takeaway. Right. But just saying, like, not now, and then that urge kind of goes away, right? And it's almost that urge, right? Every time that you see something that seems appealing, right? And it's pulling on these, like, emotional faculties of, like, financial freedom could probably be on the other side of that, possibly that opportunity and all these things. Well, that urge goes high, and now you find yourself saying yes to too many things and having a life that you're doing a lot but getting nowhere, doing a lot and getting nothing done. And so I think the art of saying no is something that I still struggle with, man. By nature, I just want to say yes because I want to be there for somebody. I want to help somebody. I want to serve somebody. I want to see where it goes. I want to play a part. And you can't be all things, all people. You can't be all things, all opportunities, right? And so I think the concept is, like, man, you got to get deep, not wide, right? If you get so wide and so surface, man, there's nothing really going to grow as far as that's worth looking at, right? But if you go deep, you go really deep, well, now you can have some great growth where what's visible above is so big and beautiful because of how deep you dug below, right? And so I think that's kind of the first concept, is how deep can you get? There's a great book, Outliers, that talks about these 10,000 hours of practice, right? And just basically unbunks, like, this whole thought of, like, I just have to be gifted. I just have to be talented. talented, because talent is not enough. And this book goes through even these people that we would put on this pedestal to make ourselves feel insecure and not good enough, that keeps us disabled from doing this thing that we need to do to move the needle towards where we need to move it. Like Tiger Woods. He's just so good. Well, they break it down like, dude, he started playing golf when he was like 2.
Right.
And they go through his schedule because he talks about in his interviews how many hours he put into it and all these things. And he's like, oh, shoot, he hit 10,000 hours of practice at age 13.
Right.
Where most people don't hit it until they're 27.
Yeah.
You know, and it goes on and on, even with Bill Gates and how he was able to break into this. He would actually break into, at night, the only hospital that had the data computers at the time, and it was right by his house, and he was able to go in from like midnight to 5 a.m. and he would mess around on it. So it's like not a mystery of, he was just, no, like he also, like, so this 10,000 hours of practice, it gets you to realize that that's how you become an expert.
Yeah.
And experts get paid. Novices in a lot get paid nothing. Experts in one thing get paid a lot. And I think today, Brand, like, think about like social media. It's got like this serial entrepreneurial kind of like thought, like even this concept of like all the millionaires, most millionaires and billionaires, they have 7 buckets of income stream. Well, if you actually interview them, their story is the same as the story that I've got and everybody else has got, which is we were hyper focused on one area for a decade plus, and then once that became so fruitful and you sell it or whatever, then you kind of move in. And now, why is that so beneficial? Well, because you learn so much by becoming an expert in one thing, you can now take that stuff and apply it to other things and help those things grow as well. And that's why I've got my hands on like 7 different things, which is not necessarily a good thing. And I got to consistently pray and make sure I'm getting, hearing from God that, hey, this is what you want me to step into. And the last thing I'd say on that is just pause before you give a yes, and just pray and seek God and make sure that it is a yes.
100%.
Because God's going to answer you, right? He's going to lead you, and if you have that relationship, you'll know if it's a yes or a no, right? And if He knows your heart is with this belief that, hey, I believe this is a yes, He'll help make that the right yes, even if maybe it wasn't the right no, because He sees your heart and knows that your heart is after Him, and He'll make a way when there's not a way, when it is the wrong yes.
Yeah. That's good. And by no means do I want to like discourage people from trying things, right? Because I think, especially when you're young, like you want to figure stuff out. And so you dabble in different things. And I think there's definitely like some good to that as well, like trying to find who you are and what fits, because you can be the right person, but in a wrong vehicle. Like you can be just a killer entrepreneur, have good character, have good heart, have good work ethic, but you're just in a vehicle that's not like, it doesn't fit like your potential. And so you can be the right person, but in the wrong vehicle. So there is some wisdom to trying some things, but I think you nailed it. Is that you have to slow down a little bit, like don't be a cat chasing a laser around a room, just frantically making decisions. Like that's why it's so good to have like come to Level Up Life leadership, like Roundtable. Like get some people who can speak some wisdom into you. Slow down a little bit. Pray, like pause. But I think the older I've gotten, and this may be contrary to what Instagram gurus might teach, but like I'm slower to make decisions these days because I don't want to make a decision where I got to carry the weight of the decision all by myself, because I know what my flesh wants. My flesh wants to increase. My flesh wants more. My flesh wants to gather. My flesh wants to be exposed but not every opportunity is a God opportunity. Not every open door is an open door from God. And so I got to pray and go, God, if this is you, then I'll step in. Like that's my heart's desire, right? And if it's you, I will, despite how I feel. But if it's not you, I don't want to step into it, because I know if I do, then I have enough natural talent and ability to sustain something for long enough. But that's exactly what will have to sustain it, is my natural talent and ability. And over time, it gets heavy. Yeah. But when you could step into something that's, and this may be too spiritually deep, but it's like if it's a God thing, like at some point, like God's the one that carries it forward. Like if you step out of it, it's like, man, it's so much bigger and beyond just you, because it was never about you in the first place. And those are the opportunities that I want to step into. Those are the companies that I want to build. Those are the organizations that I want to lead. That it doesn't require just Branamier's ability to articulate or to lead or to pour into. Like it's so much bigger and beyond just me. And I know that's your desire too. And so if you're out there and you're looking at all the shiny objects, there's nothing maybe wrong with them. It might be the right place to pivot into it, but just like pray before you do, or even a partnership. Like there's been people that I've partnered with throughout the year. Same is true for you. Yeah. Well, you're like, if you look back now and you're like, You're like, Lord, like if I would have just maybe slowed down a little bit.
Saw the red flags that were flying everywhere, bro.
We saw them, but actually like acted on them, and not moved into that season. That then we would have saved ourselves not only maybe money, but we would have saved ourselves some headaches.
Hey, how about you single people too, man? Like, just pause and just, is there a red flag before you you get too vested, right?
For sure, because you don't want to step in, especially in a business. You don't want to get into a relationship with the wrong people, because the wrong people could mess you up.
100%.
And so. Don't chase every opportunity that comes your way.
I love it, bro.
Here's the second one. Ready?
Yep.
Build a team before you need one. So I got two different sides of this story, because in my business, I did it alone forever, and I needed a team the whole time, but was so like singularly focused that I can do it all myself, which was great because it was feeding me, but it wasn't blessing anyone else, and it was great because the finances were good, but maybe my kids were missing out because I was gone all day, or it was great because the bank account was good, but my back was messed up, right? And so like I needed a team in my business for so long, but I was so focused on like, no, I got to grow it, I got to build it, I got to have the money, that I probably missed out on years of opportunity and growth and expansion that I could have if I would have just like thought beyond my current circumstance and go, hey, if I hire someone to do this, yes, it's going to cost me up front, but long term, it's going to free me to do the thing that I'm actually blessed in doing, which is leading, which is, giving vision, which is training, as opposed to it's the whole concept of working on the business, not in the business.
Yeah.
And so I think I worked in my business way too long, even though I knew like I needed a team. There was just that like, I don't know if it was a fear. I don't know if it was a limiting belief. I don't know if it was like just like not knowing how to do it, but I just didn't do it for many, many years. And now that I've done it, I'm like going, what the heck was I thinking?
Sooner,
Like I'm so freed from the business now, and it just like it runs itself, and I step into it when I need to do it. Well, it's because I built a team now and put people and leadership and system in place where I don't have to be in it 24 hours a day, and I could go out and do other things. But like, man, most people are like me in the beginning. You just try to do it all on your own. But the truth is, you should build a team even before you need one.
Bro, I think this one's so big and so good. We might just finish on
Yeah,
two.
we probably could.
And then we'll have to hit two more next week. And I think, for one, this is the stuff that I loved getting around people that, in my mind, I'd put them on a pedestal, and as they unpack some of the things that they messed up, because I feel like the enemy's biggest tactic is to try to get you to believe that, they could be successful, but not you. Or they get it all figured out, but you don't. Or you've got this issue and this struggle, and it's not as easy for you, which means that you're unqualified. I mean, that's spiritually, but also in business as well, right? And I feel like it's a big thing. I mean, I remember, Brian, getting going, and all the top producers at the time, I'm 19, I'm thinking like, they don't deal with no-shows. They don't deal with clients like this. They don't get 4 no-shows. They don't get people hanging up on them, dude. They don't get this stuff. They don't get clients to respond like them. And then I went on a ride-along, and the guy I went on a ride-along with was a top producer. And dude, the entire day, he got more destroyed than I had on some of the days that I thought were my disqualifying moments. And it was like, I kind of felt, I was kind of excited about it. Like his downfalls, but it was freeing. It was like, oh, dude, like I can be successful too because he deals with the same things. And I just feel like it's important. But, when you look at like building a team before you need one, I think for me, Brent, because I did the same thing, I thought, like, for one, they can't do it as good as me. And guess what? You're probably right. Most of the time, sometimes you're right. But the reality is, what I learned was, like, this delegation and this trade-off of time and money. And so it's like, okay, if I'm paying somebody to do things that are a $15 an hour job, right, and I could therefore free up that time and then go do the thing that makes me save $500 an hour, well, that makes sense, right? But then it's a fear of like, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't get it back? And it comes from this fear of lack, right?
Yep.
Of like, I can I want to control it, which controlling is scarcity. I don't want to let it go because I don't know if it'll come back and what it's going to look like. So I want to have control over it. And I feel like most entrepreneurs kind of deal with it. I know I did, for a long time. Like, my first admin was my Aunt Michelle, and it was because she was on disability. I could pay her underneath the table. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, nephew, just give me $150 a week, $100 a week. I'm happy, because ain't nobody else giving her $100 cash because under the table. So I give her $100 a week cash, and she'd do all kinds of stuff, right? And I was like, $100, okay, I could do $100, right? Just broke-minded, like lack, right? And that's all the help I had for quite a while. And then I started to realize through time and energy and exposure to other higher thought processes, which the truth is this, dude, I would have never changed that, bro. If I didn't get exposed to a different way to understand it.
100%.
That's the truth. But I got around other people that had big businesses, and they were like, dude, and they would break it down. Like, help me understand what you're thinking here. If you just paid somebody $15 and that freed up, and you didn't go waste the time by watching TV and doing pleasurable things, because then that is an expense. And you got to ask yourself, is that worth the expense of $15 to buy my time back with my family? Eventually, it'll get to the point where it's a yes. But if I could go do 500 activities, you minus the difference, and it's well worth it. You're costing yourself $300 an hour every time you do that thing and don't have somebody else do the thing. And then I was like, oh, got it, right? And it's the same kind of concept of the leadership event. I think you'll have a lot of those oh, got it moments like we've had just by getting around other people that have a higher thought process and different perspective on stuff.
Yeah.
But the other thing was, like, in the beginning when I was building the team is like knowing how to build it. And the truth is sometimes we overthink it and think like, well, I got to know what I'm going to have them do. What if I don't know what to give them? Or what if I don't give them enough? Or what if all these different things, right? And so you just pause until you get to a place where you think it's going to, all of a sudden you have this feeling like you've got enough, and it never happened. You just you got to jump and build your wings on the way down, right? You got to just jump and then figure it out. And really kind of help him. Like, for me in the beginning, Bran, I was trying to like get the most when I first hired somebody because I was scarce-minded. Track with me here because let me know what your thoughts are on this. So like I hired somebody, and then my thought was like, I'm paying them. At the time, this $15 an hour was decent because it was like $11 an hour back then as far as minimum wage, right? And I'm like, dude, that's in my mind. I'm like, that's a lot. And so I try to get everything out of them. Like they were like a wet rag, like just squeezing everything out of them. And so what happened was, like, I suppressed the ability to bring out the best that was in them. I didn't empower and equip. Right. It was nonstop trying to make sure. I always thought, are they getting one over on me? Like, are they just sitting there burning clock? And it was a big leadership moment that I want to kind of find those first couple admins that I hired when I was 19, 20 and send them like a stipend just to say, like, I'm sorry for ruining your life. I don't know where they
You're watching.
That's you. I don't know.
And Michelle, where you at?
Like, I don't know if I've ruined their life for what they've done. But, at the end of the day, it's like that had to happen, though, for me to learn. I learned so much from that about sitting back and saying, man, I got to empower and equip. And now when I bring on staff, it's kind of like if you go to the health center with Giovanna and Angelica, like, dude, I've intentionally made sure that they're very aware that they're the CEO of their position and that this is a partnership. And that's just how I run it now. It's like, hey, I want your thoughts. I want your creativity. I want your suggestions. I want you to run this like I give them freedom and different things, and I see how it's working. And like, it's such a better thing. And you get to watch people really level up and not just bring out their potential, but also grow their potential from doing it. So I just think that, like, that's a big shift that I learned was like, dude, you can't just be on somebody trying to squeeze it out. You got to truly lead and bring out the best in them, where they want to go out there and fight like it's their company.
Yeah, couple things. So number one, I think the temptation is, especially when you're learning to delegate and build a team, the temptation is to clone yourself. But the truth is, like, you're not looking for a clone of you. You should be looking for people who complement you. Yeah. Right. So like, dude, Giovanna and Angelica are nothing like you.
Right.
Like,
100%.
At all, which is great, because if it was you down there, dude, everyone would be fired up, but like no one would know how to work the machine. Right. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'd all be encouraged, like, all right, what do we do now? You'd be like, bro, I don't know. Right. Exactly. So you need someone to complement you, not clone you. And so, like, when you're delegating, man, the temptation is to go, all right, no, do this exactly like me, because this is what's worked. But the truth is, like, what you're saying is, like, you got to have people that can they have different strengths than you. They see things differently than you, and you have to be, not only mature enough in your leadership, but like secure enough in your leadership to go, all right. And this was me, like in some of the church roles as well, is like, hey, I've got us to a certain point, but like there has to be someone out there who can take us to the next level. And I know my strengths and weaknesses, and I can't take us to where I want us to go. So I have to. And here's the other thing about delegating is trust is not like built overnight. It's built over time. Mm-hmm. And so the other fear when you begin to build a team is thinking that you have to release everything to them. You don't have to release everything to them. Like, you build trust over time. You give them small tasks. You see how they either complete it or don't complete it, and then you correct, you retrain, or you fire. You get So it's like you don't have to just let go of the reins of everything and go, all right, now you're in charge of X, Y, and Z. It's like, no. You give them small tasks, you give them a little bit more responsibility, and you see how they adapt to it, and either they're the right fit or they're not. And then over time, you can release them to the CEO position. But day one, it wasn't like that. It was like, hey, here's the vision, here's where we're going, move forward with this small task. And as you build trust over time, then it's like, hey, you clearly have a good understanding of what we're doing. And so, but like, and this is a process that never stops, especially the larger your organization gets. You got to continue to build teams, because that's what we do is build people. Like, we're not building businesses, we're building people that happen to produce whether it's a service or a product for people. And so we're never out of the people business. And so if you're a leader, man, you got to get good at identifying strengths and talents and abilities in other people that will ultimately help push the thing you're trying to lead to the place you want it to be. And so,
dude, that's so good, bro. I mean, we'll wrap up here, because like, dude, this one here could be a 3-part podcast. I mean, because like I got a bunch of questions in my mind that I want to ask you about, even like the church, and I mean, how many different teams, and like I get to experience the different teams as I go to church, and how each person's running it, and the passion that they have with running those teams, and how they empower their people. And really, it's a DNA thing. And so I would just say, like, man, it's so important if you're leading to sow in that first square, so to speak, of the blanket of your organization that you want to have replicated, because you don't want to duplicate yourself, but you want to replicate and duplicate the DNA of the values, the mission, and all that, man. Like that's such a big deal. And I just think about, the different businesses that I've had, and it wasn't me. It was just my ability a lot of times to get out of the way and just really kind of focus on making sure our culture was right, and the values were upheld, and the mission was clear and focused on. So that way, when days happen, which days will happen that suck, right? Whether that's different clients you're dealing with, or just a situation at the work, or drama. I mean, just it's people are people, dude. Like, if you're going to build anything and it involves people, buckle up. You're going to have some days, right? But that's what gets people moving is, man, I'm on mission. Yeah. Like, this is bigger than us. And like, for me, my goal is always just to remind even like the girls in the health center, like, why we're doing this. Yeah. Like, this isn't about like getting somebody in and out of, no, it's transforming this person's health, and in doing so, transforming their life, right? And no different than when I go and deliver a message. When you ask me to preach at the church, like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, I got to remind myself, man, this is not about me. There's souls in this auditorium, this building right now, that they need to hear a word from God. And like, it's about the mission. The mission isn't about a good message. The mission is about getting out of the way and letting God work through me and help put together this message that's going to transform their life, because that's what it's all about. 100%. And so I just think that, man, like, that's such a big deal. And I mean, last point I'd make to that I was thinking as you were talking is, like, letting people fail. Yeah. Like, dude, I was known for, like, the guy that would pull over on the side of the street and, like, find a stray cat and try to nurse it back to life. Because I was just always trying to help everybody, bro. Like, and I mean, it could be somebody that stumble in here and it's like, I was going to help them become the next $1 million income earner in insurance, like everybody. Right. And I mean, I had people like help me be aware of, like, dude, I get it. Like, I get what you're trying to do here. I get the heart behind it. But you're building a business, and if you're sowing into everybody, you're not sowing more of what you should be sowing into the right people that are fertile ground. Yeah. And I really had to get to the point of, like, I'm hurting the people that really need to be sowed into, because I'm trying to fix this person thinking I'm the hero. Yep. And I was just talking to Frank about this. I said, he's like, man, these guys that are in the investment group, like, I want to make sure that they succeed. Do we have enough things in place? I'm like, bro, there's plenty of things in place. Like I knew like 2 things when I did my first wholesale deal. Like, you're overthinking this. I just want to fail them. I'm like, well, I had to give them the same story that I learned, which was like, dude, sometimes you got to let them fail. You can't like do all things. Like, you can't be successful in an independent culture if you're dependent.
Yep.
So if I'm raising up somebody to independently build their business or be great in sales or whatever that might be, how am I going to help them become successful if I'm creating dependent natures because I want to fix them and make sure I don't fail them? They're going to fail. They're going to fail. And sometimes their failure is going to lead to their success. I got to step out of the way and let them fail.
100%. I mean, dude, it's so much good stuff. We could honestly go
That's what I'm saying,
super deep on this, but just one last thought. We'll wrap up. I think when you're delegating, when you're building a team, number one, it's like, what you're doing is you're creating a heartbeat, right? And so if the leader's heartbeat is healthy, well, then that's the thing that's driving the business, but it's not dependent just on your heart. So when people come into your organization, like, you got to get the rhythm of their heart aligned with the heartbeat of the organization, right? And so then it's not dependent on you being there, because it's one rhythm. Like, you're moving forward together. And so, like, dude, if you go to God's house on a Sunday and I'm not there, it still feels the same.
Right.
But no matter who's preaching the message, like, the culture is the same, because every team's heart is beating at the same rhythm. And anyone that messes up that beat or that rhythm, like, dude, we identify and go, what's going on here? You're speaking a different language. Like, something's off here. Like, the culture is messed up. And that could be the same with your home, like with your business, with your organization. Like, you got to get the heartbeat healthy. And so when there's something that's a red flag, like what we're saying, it's like, dude, you identify it and you're able to get them back in line. Or it's like, hey, go find another place to be, because this is how we move forward. And so I hope that helped you.
That was great, bro.
Number one, not learn how to chase every opportunity out there, but secondly, learn how to build, delegate, and build a team. And these are things that we'll be talking about at the event on June 5th. And what we talk about here every single week.
Well, dude, I can tell you this: you hit a string by talking about this, the second one that we discussed, because it's where our heart is to help build people, build up teams. And I mean, dude, that was so good, so good. I love what you just said, man. That was worth going back and repeating and listening to it a couple different times. So, guys, make sure to like, subscribe. Comment below. We want to hear your thoughts. Any kind of, if you're like, hey, this has been a setback that I'm dealing with, like, how would you deal with this? What do you think? I mean, we want to hear from you, right? This is a community that we want to serve and sow into you. And so we need some of that talk back, right, to us on that. And share this as well, man. If you want to make a difference in somebody else's life, sometimes a great, simple share will make an impact for that person, because this might be the very word that they need to hear this week to go out there and be the best version of themselves. So, guys, we love you. Be strong, stay steadfast, and we'll talk to you next week.